G'day, I'm Ralph Schwartz. Welcome to Geoterrics Outdoors Australia. I've had my Blackview BV9800 Pro for 8 months, and I've put it through its paces and ready to do a final review. First 3 reviews I've done and uploaded to YouTube. Got a few hits. People liked, disliked, whatever. Basically, I don't think I was in much of a position to comment much apart from first impressions. But after owning it for 8 or 9 months, I'm ready to give the final review. So if you look at the pros, it's a rugged phone. It's advertised variously between IP65 and IP69. I didn't even know there was an IP69, so I don't know if that's some people telling some fibs or something, but that doesn't sound right. But look, it's a rugged phone. You can throw this thing around, you can put it under water, you can put it under snow, ice, whatever, it'll come up and keep performing. It's a strong, rugged phone. It's got Android 9, which let's call that a pro. At the time it was the most advanced Android, soon overtaken by Android 10, and I'm not quite sure where we're at the moment with releases of Android. Look, it had a strong operating system. Some of the features were the cameras, the 48 megapixel, the 16 megapixel camera, takes 1080p video at 30 frames per second. Happy with all of that. It has a macro 5 megapixel macro on it as well. And the big feature of the phone, the Pro version as opposed to the 9800 without Pro, was the forward-looking infrared. Highly accurate. I initially had in one of my comments that it was a gimmick. The fact of the matter is, if used in the right context, this thing is highly accurate, and I've had it on side-by-side comparisons with other forward-looking infrared devices, and they're very, very similar. It's got a great screen. I'll just give it a clean 6.3 inch screen. Happy with that. Memory, 6 gigabytes on board of RAM. This thing is fast and quite happy with that. And it's got 128 gigs of ROM. I'm not even close to being to a tenth of that. Admittedly, any video I take on this, I take off immediately and move to a couple of hard drives, or one hard drive and a backup. But yeah, 128 gigs is a lot of ROM. It's got 2 SIM slots, so you can either put 2 SIM cards in, or a SIM card and an expansion micro SD. And it's got fantastic speakers. I've really struggled. As you know, I did a lot of comparison with the Blackview with my Sony Xperia. The speakers on this are really poor compared to the speakers on the Blackview. Let's look at some of the downside. Let's look at some of the cons. This thing is wide and tall. 81mm, 168.5mm width by height. The problem I've got with this particular phone is its depth. Depth's almost 15 millimeters, or 1.5 centimeters. This thing doesn't fit into most charging cradles, most phone cradles that to put in your car. It won't fit into a DJI remote to control the drone. I've got to use my old Sony. There's lots of things that this thing doesn't do, and it doesn't work conventionally or with conventional components. It's a monster, and nothing fits a monster, unfortunately. The other one is the other downside, which is the weight. It's 322 grams. That's unbelievable. Battery, 6580 milliamp hours. Now that on its own would be fantastic, and when you first get it, it runs like a charm. And then something goes wrong at the end of the month. Usually the last couple of days of the month, the battery lasts you not even a day, and if you try to charge it during that time, you can take days wirelessly, or a full night and it won't be fully charged, a full day it won't be fully charged, with everything switched off in aircraft mode. So there's something going on that these two, the battery and operating system in conjunction with each other, don't work. And I'll come to that in a sec. Now the operating system, Android 9 in Samsung works fantastic because it's got a launcher, it's got a management program in there, but this doesn't. And trying to get it to try to change the size of configuration of your screen, all sorts of stuff, is impossible. So I actually downloaded Eevee, the launcher Eevee, and there was heaps to choose from, but that was the one I actually downloaded aftermarket, because the one that's on board is pretty crap. But like I just said earlier, there's an unknown, unmapped and uncontrollable process in the background toward the end of the month. Now, I know the trouble that the US and Australia have had with Huawei. Something similar could be happening with Blackview, and I'm a little reluctant to continue this as my EDC, or my everyday carry phone, and I'm going to go onto the market and get another one, because this is not okay. This is not reliable. This is totally unreliable. Manufactured in China. I don't know if my data's being taken away and used somewhere else, so I'm going to take that out. So my final verdict on this, I'm really quite torn. If it's a highly specialised piece of equipment, if you work in rugged environments like I do in exploration, when 1 minute you can be in the Arctic and the next minute you can be in a desert, the minute after that you can be in a ship or in a jungle, and you want something that is going to be reliable, not necessarily as a phone, but as a portable computer. It will run so much stuff in the Android environment. It's fantastic. So it does work well as a rugged phone, and if that's what you need and those are the environments that you need it in, I'd say go for it. The battery is big, but it's unreliable, and I've had to condition it a number of times, and like I say, there's this thing going on where a particular time of month it's absolute crap. The OS, the operating system, is weird and wacky, and you really got to work hard to put systems into sleep mode that normally want to run, but that's not unusual for Android anyway. The other thing, this USB port here got clogged. Now let's see if you can see that. I might just get some extra light in on that and see if you can see. Might just zoom in on that. This stopped working completely. Couldn't get data, couldn't get charge, couldn't get anything to work on this. So I made contact with the supplier, and he said, well, these things should be bulletproof. And I went, well, the fact that this one isn't means that you've got a faulty product in here, and I need you to take this phone back and repair it. We came to an understanding. Well, we didn't come to an understanding. I was just offered a spare part. They sent it over from a supplier in New Zealand, and I had to pay a tech here in Canberra to replace it, and now it charges properly. So after sales service was poor. It took several months to get to that stage, and then I still had to wait for quite some time on the part, and there was no backup, and I was unhappy with the level of the backup. So in my final verdict, I would say that this is, for an everyday EDC, everyday carry, this is a fail. If you want a rugged phone that you're not really concerned too much about being on the network, but you need to take photos, you need infrared, you need this thing to be bulletproof, you want to take video at 1080p or full HD, if you want to integrate it with a computer and be able to upload and download, watch the USBs. So I'd say it would be a pass in that sort of environment. So out of 5, I'd have to give it a straight out 2.25. So if you're thinking of buying a Blackview, any of the BV series, I'd think long and hard about what it is you're expecting it to do. It's a big cost. These phones aren't cheap, and what's going on in the background. So that's it for me. That's my 2 bobs worth. If you've enjoyed this video, please like please leave a comment. I'd be love to hear your comments and what experiences you've had with the phone. I've already got a few comments in the previous videos. Happy to read those. Please share, please like, please subscribe, and thanks for watching.